All right. Happy Monday, everybody, and welcome to the very first campaign kickoff call brought to you by listingleads.com. This is a long time coming, Lee, because one of the things that you and I are so committed to right now for everyone who's part of Listing Leads, everyone who's new to Listing Leads, or even people who've been with Listing Leads for a long time and are trying to kind of restart their business going into the latter half of this year. We are so committed to making sure that you guys can execute the marketing strategies that we provide every single week because we've seen it, Lee. I mean, we've seen the impact it's had when people are consistently executing these ideas. We've seen the impact it's had on the number of conversations, the number of appointments, and the number of customers. But before we kick everything off, Lee, I would love for you just to give a quick high level overview of what we're going to be covering in today's call. And then we'll hopefully have a chance to open up the Q&A, and then we'll get right into today's session.
Love it. Yeah, excited to dive in. Thanks for having me, and always great to hang with you and the Listing Leads team here. So yeah, today we really wanted to boil down the tactical ways to execute on this content. To your point, Jimmy, we talk to tons of people all the time that say, you know what, I got it, set
Hmm.
it, forget it. I just send it. I don't change anything. I don't modify it. I don't put my logo on it. I just send it. And these are the people with the resounding success stories. So we want to give you this easy button to
Hmm.
execute this content. So today we're going to run down some brief things on who and how to send it to, but we're going
Yep.
to actually go through each post this week with some best practices on how to execute that content and ship it.
Yeah, and I think the goal here, and let's make sure the chat is actually unlocked, Lee. I
Yes,
don't.
I'll grab that.
Yeah, and so what's going to be really fun for us is we want you. We're going to take things slow. We want you to actually schedule and get ready to send out the campaigns on this 1 hour session. Now, the goal, of course, is we want to get you to actually send it. But even if we can get you to the 1 yard line, and then after the call, you're going to go ahead and send it, or after the call, you're going to send a text message, totally fine. But this is going to be a hands-on session. So we're going to move deliberately, but carefully through each part of the plan to make sure that everyone who's diving in, if you've got a question, if you're stuck, if you're like, hey, I don't know what should I do in this scenario? Or my market's a little bit different. What about this? We'll have time, hopefully, to dive into those questions as we move forward. So, welcome, Joanne. Welcome, Kim. Hey, Heather. Great to have you in the call today. Hey, Monica. Yeah, let us know where you're calling in from in the chat right now. We have people, obviously, all across North America who are using listing leads to help market and grow their business. Hey, from Chicago. It's funny, Lee, now that I look at all these places as people are dropping in, I'm like, because I've been traveling so much this year. I'm like, I've been there. I've been there.
Yep,
I've been
know
there.
that one.
Except I had not been to Bainbridge Island in Washington State. So that's a
Nice.
new one for me. Uh, I love it. Texarkana.
Great. We got
Okay.
all the time zones. Congrats to you guys who are up early, rocking this out with us.
That's it. That's it. All right. So Lee, let me go ahead and share my screen.
Do it.
And let me just start. We're going to get into, let's talk about the very, very basics here. And now, if you haven't logged into listingleads.com or it's been a while, let me just back up for 1 second here. I'm going to go ahead and log out. If you haven't logged into listingleads.com, the first thing we're going to want you to do is we're going to want you to go ahead and log in through the member access button on the website. So you're at listingleads.com. You're going to go ahead and click on member access, and you're going to go ahead and log in. I'll log in through one of my old emails here, and I'm into my account. And so when you're on your account, you're going to look at the top part of the page, and you're going to see listingleads.com/plan. That tells you you are in the right place. Now we're going to, by default, we're going to put you on the listing attraction plan. This is going to be the very first place you start. This is going to be the very first place that you're going to go to when you're getting started with listing leads. Now, as I scroll down here for a second, you can see we have this week's plan laid out for you. We've got Monday, which is the deal of the week, Tuesday, which is the email, Wednesday, which is a prospecting script, Thursday, which is an Instagram story, and then Friday. Now, let me give a quick pro tip before we dive into it. This plan is designed to be your essential plan, meaning that, hey, if you only have, let's say, an hour to an hour and a half of the entire week to do marketing, just focus in on the plan. That being said, if you're like, hey, I've got the plan dialed in, but I'm ready to go, I got more time, more resources, more energy, we have our viral leaderboard, which includes our best performing videos in the last week. And we analyze over 1,500 creators. You can check in the best performing campaigns here. So if you're looking to say, hey, I want to ramp up my social media, you can use the viral leaderboard. If you're like, hey, I want to execute some proven strategies, dive into the blueprints. These are all bonuses. These are all things that I want you to do after you've completed the plan. So let's get into the deal of the week. Now, we just released a brand new tool for you, and we're going to focus on Monday. We're going to start here on Monday. Now, a couple things in the chat right now, let me know. There are two different audiences I want you to have set up to be able to execute the email strategies within listing leads. There is number one, your prospects. These are the folks that you have not done business with, that you don't, that are people, these are internet leads, these are contacts you've come across the years who have maybe been to your website, but you actually have not done business with them. The second bucket is going to be, we just refer to it as clients. You can call it sphere, totally fine. These are people you know or people you've done business with. And then the third bucket is going to be everyone. And so the three main buckets that we need you to send to are going to be your prospects, your sphere, and then everyone. Now you can filter people out. Lee, if you've got people in your CRM who you have, let's say, like are out of town sellers and you want to exclude them, cool. Totally fine with us. I don't want you getting tripped up on creating like a dozen different audiences. Prospects, sphere, everyone. Now let's go through the deal of the week. I'm actually going to start, Lee. This is my advice. I'm going to start with the deal of the week email. Now, just for context, the deal of the week is a strategy where we say you're going to spend some time to identify the very best home for sale in your area, the one that you believe is an expert is going to sell quickly, the one that you believe is going to sell, either at the list price or above the list price, the one that's probably going to get multiple offers. Most markets, my buddy Tom Ferry would say most markets across the US and North America, frankly, are bipolar markets where like, for some homes, they'll sit for 12 months, 18 months, and then some other homes, they'll literally sell within 7 days. We want you to find the best homes in your market. And if you focus on a very specific geographic area, you might have to expand that farm just a little bit to make sure that you're getting, a full sort of scale or scope of the market. But the very first thing you're going to do is you're going to focus on finding the very best deal. Now, we built a tool at Listing Leads. Let's pull this up together. And I'll drop this in the chat, Lee, which is for everyone here.
Yep.
So I want everyone on today's call to go into automate.listingleads.com. Now, let me give a quick disclaimer for my Canadian friends. We do not have access to, there's no Zillow like in Canada. So for my Canadian friends, it's going to be a little bit more work. But if everyone in the US is going to work for you, which is go to deal of the week. Yep. Automate.listingleads.com/deal. Okay. And just let me know in the chat that you're there. Just say yes in the chat. I'm there just to make sure we're good before we move on. Awesome. Thanks, Helen. All right.
Right.
Now, when you're there, you're going to be brought to a page. If you're looking at my screen, you're going to be brought to a page that has, you can choose up to 5 areas. So I'm going to go ahead and type in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. And you, again, just to be clear, you can do multiple towns. I'll do Portsmouth, Auburn. I'll do Dover. I'll add in Newington. And I'll do one more here. I'll do Manchester. Okay. And so now I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to choose my desirable price range. Now I would choose a price range that would make sure that I at least have like, 30 to 50 homes hitting the market in that price range. Because Lee, if you're using the deal of the week tool, by the way, this is a free tool you can use. If you want to automate that, that's a new product we're releasing next week. But this is a free tool for everyone to use. Lee, if I'm gonna do deal of the week, I'm making sure that I'm looking for like 30 to 50 new listings hitting the market in that area. I want to have enough of a sample size where I can find a good home. Okay, so once I've done that, I'm gonna focus primarily on houses. And I'm gonna go ahead and just search for the deal. And we're gonna analyze Zillow. We're gonna look at the price range. We're gonna look at the area. And then we're going to analyze which home has the highest save rate. So here's this home. It's an affordable home here, $389,000 in Berry Street, Dover. And you can see here it has 97 saves, 9,000 views. Now, again, I just want to be clear. You don't need to use this tool. This tool is just designed to make it a little easier for you. You can use your MLS. You can use, whatever board you're using. You can search the homes yourself. You don't actually have to use the tool per se, but you can use this tool if you're in the US. Heather's saying I can't use this. Heather, we'll make sure you get the right link.
Yeah, make sure we're on the right link. I wanted to reiterate that with a couple of questions.
Yep,
It has to be /deal. There,
correct.
there is no wait list on this. There is a join the wait list at the top right, but that's for the other product. Just make sure you're exactly on the. I'll drop it one last time.
Yep, sure. And so we'll go to, and I'll check Dallas there for a second, Joyce. We'll take a look because if you're using a really, really large metro like Dallas, which probably has like a couple hundred homes, I would narrow that down. And if it's too narrow, like if you're in a small area with a small zip code, I would expand that zip code. All right. So once you're there, what you're going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and see this is a listing I'm going to use. We'll actually automatically write the email for you. So you'll see here, once you get working on your screen, you can click on auto write the email. So I'm on automate.listingleads.com/deal. I'm going to click on auto write an email. And this will take just a few seconds. And what we'll do is we'll ingest the information from the listing and we'll create a deal of the week email in the exact format that we want you to send it in. Now, I want to be really clear about a couple things here. Lee, this is super important. Every email from Listing Leads is designed to be sent as a plain text email. So I do not want you sending an email in a newsletter format. I don't want you adding a big logo. I don't want you to have a big thing. I want this email that you're sending to be designed as if it's sent by you directly to somebody, to an individual client. This is important. The agent who has the most conversations wins. The way to have more conversations is through better marketing, and better marketing starts with consistently executing the right ideas. If you use a newsletter in people's minds, it's going to instantly trigger that, oh, this is just a marketing campaign versus it feeling like it's a personalized message. So now, as you can see here, I'm on this campaign. I can now copy and paste that email. I'm going to go ahead and just grab it from the tool. Now, let me just jump over for a second here. I'm in an email tool that we use at Listing Leads. And I'm just going to, in this particular case, I'm just going to paste that email in. And I'm going to go ahead and just space it out here for a second. And you can see here, you can see with all these emails that we write, you're going to make this like ultra skimmable here. And there we go. Okay. And so this email here, and you'll notice I'll go back to the subject line of that email. It says deal of the week, 2 bedroom, 2 bath with basement workshop, which I like that actually. I actually like that subject line that the tool wrote for us here too. So I would actually grab that as well. And I can actually, I might have to actually type that in. Okay. So now the email is basically ready to be sent. Now this is an email within our email tool. I would actually remove any branding from this. So I don't have a fancy signature, but this is what the email will actually look like when I send it. So when I send myself a test, I'll be able to confirm this email is not being designed in any way, shape, or form. So the reason why, let me just stop here for a hot second, Lee. The reason why I am I am sending this as a plain text as a reminder, and I'm removing all the branding, is I do not want people to think and feel like this is a newsletter from a business. This is intended to be a simple email designed to basically get someone to raise their hand. Now, generally speaking, Lee, my advice is I would send this email every single week to my prospecting list. Unless you have, and Lee, you can add some color commentary here, but unless you have like an absolute epic once in a lifetime listing, like, where like this home, like, maybe this home has literally never been listed before, it's going to sell 10% above the ask price, there's going to be massive demand. Unless you have one of those listings, I am going to default to sending it to my prospects. It's only when I have, maybe an extraordinary unicorn is when I'm going to send it to everybody. Lee, do you have any other color commentary you'd add to that in terms of the audience? Do you agree with that? Anything else you'd add?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think the biggest thing I would add to it in selecting a listing is I think it's important to not be super aspirational.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not
Yep.
put in $2 million listing. You're gonna attract a lot more fish for I'll stick with the fishing bait analogy. You're gonna attract a lot more fish with a listing that's very popular, which is why this tool exists to help you find one that's gotten a lot of eyeballs. If it's a $3 million listing with a lot of eyeballs, you're not gonna get as many people responding and engaging with your post. They're just gonna say, you know what, I can't afford that. That's great. You only work with high-end people. You can't help me.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Yeah.
think just being really smart with what listings you pick, whether it's in your farm or in the right price range or in an area you want to work in specifically,
Yep.
I think that's the best advice I would give. And I'm working on tackling your guys' questions in the chat. And if you're having issues, we'll make sure we get you connected and can get in here.
Yeah, and the other thing too is keep in mind the tool is just there to be a free tool for you to use. You can use your MLS. You can go to Zillow directly if you want to. And of course, if you have a listing is a deal of the week, then you can select that one. So don't let the tool be a barrier for you. It's meant to be just to help you save some time. But if it's not working for your market, as an example in Canada, or maybe it's not pulling some of your recent listings, then just default back to your MLS. Don't let any kind of barrier get in the way of actually executing this idea. Now, let me just pull up the example here. I'll just grab it so you can see it. We break this down for you. We break this down for you, which is like, hey, this is who you should be sending this to. So again, when you go to listing leads, you'll see, hey, here we go. Send this to your prospects, copy and paste, and then just go. And you have, as an example, we have a couple variations of this deal of the week campaign. So if you go to listing leads, you can pull up. So it's not the same format every week. It's actually, you can use different variations of this, but this needs to be part of the one of the two emails that I want you sending to your prospects every week needs to be a deal of the week email. When I fast forward, say 3 months from now, and you have sent 9 to 10 deal of the week emails, you are going to have 5 to 10 additional prospects in your pipeline you would not have had otherwise. So like you're gonna do this once, and you're like, all right, cool. Maybe I had to do a little bit of a workaround. Okay, next week's gonna be a little bit easier. Next week's gonna be a little bit easier. By the time that you've sent 9 or 10 of these, you are going to have 5 to 10 additional prospects in your database you are in your pipeline you otherwise would not have had. So I do not want you overthinking this. I want you just leveraging this and just make this automatic. Just have faith in the system, make this automatic.
Jimmy, we had
Now,
a couple of great questions. I hate to jump in, but a couple of
fire
great
away.
questions about including a picture in the email. So I want to make sure we get that tackled.
Yeah, great question. So generally speaking, when it comes to setting a deal of the week email, we are actually intentionally not including a picture. We're not including the price. We're not including the address. Now, part of this is circumventing the compliance issue around getting permission. So that's one option there, which is not using another agent's photo without their permission. You can of course always ask for their permission. That's totally fine if you want to do that. We have not had any single person ever get fined from using deal of the week in this format. So I would caution against using a photo unless it is A, your listing, or B, you have permission from the listing agent. If you do have if you do have permission, you are likely going to have to mention the listing agent in the email, which
I
again,
dropped I dropped that in the
counterintuitively,
chat.
Lee, I'm
Yeah,
sorry, go
go
ahead,
ahead.
Lee.
No, I was gonna say I dropped that in the chat. If you are promoting another listing, you talk to your broker, make sure you follow your state laws, make sure that's all happy and good. But to Jimmy's point, let me go back to my fishing analogy. This is simply the bait to engage with people. That you're not trying to send them the details of the listing. You're not trying to get them to want to go see it.
Hmm.
You're saying, what this reminds me of, Jimmy, and this is showing my age here, This reminds me of the old days of the listing agents actually having the secret keys to all the
Sure.
listings, and you
Yeah.
had to contact them to get any information or access or anything like that.
Hmm.
So
Yep.
again, the goal is to get people to engage. They're not going to engage and say, "Hey, can we go see this house?" necessarily. They're
Yeah.
going to engage and raise their hand that they're actively looking for a deal, and you can help them find that deal.
That's exactly right. There's a great expression by P.T. Barnum, which is nothing draws a crowd quite like a crowd. And so our ability to say, listen, we've looked at the 35 homes have hit the market in the last 7 days, and we've identified one of them that we think is the very best deal. And here's why we think people are going to love the home: A, B, C, D. Would you like me to send you the details? And what we're doing again is, remember, the agent who has the most conversations wins. All we're trying to do is talk to more people. I'm telling you, folks, that is the central to our entire thesis and our entire strategy is just getting you to talk to more people. If you talk to more people, it's going to lead to more appointments, more customers. The reason why so many agents struggle, in fact, I think the numbers are around 1.1 million agents sell 0 homes a year, isn't because they're talking to people every day and those people aren't buying or selling. No, they're just not having enough conversations. I mean, at the essence of this, keeping things really simple, that's the key. Now let's move on here because we have a second part of the strategy. I'll give a quick bonus tip. Is if I go back to listing leads, you'll see we also have the listing leads deal of the week Instagram story. So for those of you who are more active on social, this is a bonus. If I click through on this, you'll see that we have an Instagram story that you can use. Now, let me give you a quick pro tip here. The most important thing with using an Instagram story is to leverage using polls. If you're not familiar with polls, we have training on this as well, and we'll make sure we include that to you how to set up a poll. We actually, I believe, have a video on that in our help center as well. And Lee can find that for me as well.
Yeah, I'll drop that.
But what you're looking at here is like you're going to basically just post an Instagram story and you're going to basically say, hey, I came across what I think is the very best deal. Here's some details. Would you want me to send you the information? Now, what I like to do with this is you'll notice that every single template within listing leads has a Canva template. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Get Template. And you can see here, I can view the template right within Canva. I'm going to go ahead and open the editor. So now I have the template and I can, if I've got photos of the home because it's my house or I have permission, I can add the photos. Or what you can do is I use a tool called snazzymaps.com is you can come in here and design like a Google map basically, and you can use that as the background image. So as an example, I'll go to snazzymaps.com/build-a-map. We'll drop that link into the chat for you guys right now too. And when I'm here, I'm just going to basically come in here and just choose a location, right? So I'll come in here and I'll do, let's say Portsmouth, New Hampshire. And you can be able to adjust the zoom on this. And again, you probably could use Google Maps if you want. The nice thing about this is that you do have some design options. If you want to kind of explore different styles, they have lots of different styles of maps, which I think is kind of cool. So some of them are like, with no labels, which is nice. So this is a good one where like, if you're in an area and you really want to hide the location, you could do that. So I like that one. But what I'm going to do is once I've chosen the location, I'm going to go ahead and just take a screenshot of the map. I'm using New York City in this case here. And then I'm going to just simply add that map to the Canva template. And you'll see how this works in a second. So I'm just going to remove some of these images. I'm going to take that and I'm going to add that map to the Canva template. And I'm going to go ahead and you have a feature within Canva. You can actually move things to the very back. So under layers, I can send this to the back just like that. So keep in mind what I'm doing here is when I'm doing an Instagram story, my advice would be to take like if you don't have the photos, which is totally fine, just use a map view. You can use Snazzy Maps, you can use Google Maps, totally fine. And then once you've done that, now you can download this Canva template, which you can then use in your Instagram story. And the reason why I actually do the email first is because I'll oftentimes use some of the copy here and I'll use that in the Canva template, right? So I'll go ahead and replace, there we go. I'll be able to add that directly into the Canva template. So Lee, I'm always writing the email first so I can get some of the copy, like the copy I'm going to use. And then when I go to Instagram, I'm just taking the map,
Right.
adding in, adding in the actual background map, and then changing the copy in the call to action.
Yeah, I think that's great. I'd like you to reiterate that to people. I think that's really important, right? We're looking for the content first, the message first, and then coming up with a visual to get people to pay attention to that content.
That's exactly right. So again, just when I come back to listing leads, you'll see within listing leads, we'll have, I'll log back in here because I might have logged out by accident. Okay. So when I'm in listing leads, we're gonna give you the templates, right? So every postcard, every Instagram story, we're gonna give you a Canva template just to make it super, super easy to be able to modify that. And so when I click on Get Template, I'm gonna go ahead and view it. And then again, all I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna say all I have to do is change the copy and change the background image, and it's ready to go. So I'm going to use Snazzy Maps or Google Maps to grab an image of a map if I don't have photos. And then what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take the copy from the email I already wrote. So again, whether you're using Zillow, your MLS, or your own pocket listing or a deal of the week's new area, I'm going to repurpose that copy on social media. I'm just going to take one bit of it that I think is the most compelling piece of it, and I'm going to add that as a headline. Now, the other thing we do, which is really subtle here, Lee, is I'm always going to have with my polls like a yes and a yes and a yes.
Right.
So, like, would you want me to send you the link or would you want me to send you the details as an example? I'm gonna say yes. The second one probably will be like absolutely. And you're going to, when you go to Instagram, you're going to go ahead and actually you're going to add in the poll natively. So you're not going to take a picture of this. You're going to add it in natively, which we have a video to do. We can't really do it on desktop right now with you, but you're going to add the poll in natively. And just actually in the chat right now, how many of you have used, just let us know, how many of you have used a Instagram poll before? Yes or no in the chat for us. Okay, awesome. Lots of yes, lots of yeses. Some saying sort of. I'm not sure what that means. Zoe. um, okay, but a lot of no's. So Lee will make sure we'll drop a link, which we provide a help center video on how to add your first Instagram poll. But let me not get lost too much. This is a details call, but let me not get too lost in the details here, Lee, which is
Yeah.
every week, I want you to start the week off, regardless if you have a listing, regardless if you have an appointment, regardless if you have any new, any prospects right now. I want you to start the week off getting into motion, getting some momentum. So mission critical is sending the email. And as a bonus, for those of you who are trying to grow your business on social media as well, I want you to use the Instagram story poll. We call them Instagram lead gen tools, right? So use the Instagram story poll. Let me just stop there, Lee, because I know we had a bunch of questions flowing in before we move on to Tuesday.
Yes, we got a bunch of yeses and nos in the chat. I was answering a couple of questions. So I'll make sure I'll hop back and get any of your questions answered. But yeah, let's pause for a moment. Let's also step back to two really important things I'd like to. I'm the reiterate guy in case that's hard to tell. Jimmy, can you jump back to the very top of the idea of the content creation, the timing, the reason we're doing it, the
Hmm.
conversations? I really just want to make sure we get that down. And I also want to lean back into the idea of what you're saying. We would love for you to do all of these every week, each day. But launching and getting these out the door is what's going to bring success, and it's going to continue to snowball. So
Yeah,
don't want
and
you
there's
to feel
only
overwhelmed, but we just need you to go.
yeah, this and again, this is designed to be we call this a campaign kickoff call because we want to make sure that we are getting into the details. We are like covering. So this is so natural for Lee and I because we've done it 1,000 times. We understand it. We've been in marketing for a long time. I understand this may feel unnatural, but you're in the right place. The three most important things to remember is the agent who has the most conversations wins. The way to have more conversations is through better marketing. And the way to get good at marketing is to be consistent. And so when I think about as something as simple as the deal of the week, you identify the best deal, you create an email that's specifically designed to promote this deal, and you send it to your prospects. And then you post it to social media. If you just do that, if you just stop and do that for 9, 10 weeks straight, you will get 5 to 10 additional prospects. Now, I'm going to challenge you because this is what really separates what I see. I just would, you know this, Lee. I was just down in Dallas with 6,000 agents, and I gave two keynotes over the course of 2 days. And one of the things that I had an opportunity to do, because I've been on the road a lot this past year, is I get a chance to see like the people who are at the top of their game and what they do differently. And I'll tell you right now, the thing that I think the top agents do just fundamentally differently is just has something to do with their mindset, not their skill set. And their mindset is they think their job and the way they approach their job is they say, my job is to get my next customer. Whereas someone who has maybe hit a plateau in their career or maybe just getting started, they think their job is to service the customer. And the reality is that you can only service a customer when you have a customer. And so they make their job number one is to get customers so they can service the customers, so they can go get more customers. But top of mind for them is they are always hunting for their next deal, regardless of how busy they are. And so the deal of the week is the entry point. It's the training wheels. It's like, let's just get you into motion doing this campaign. We know it works. But the other thing I want you to do is now we're going to move into Tuesday here. And I think it's really important to give everyone some context on this because every week we actually analyze what's happening in the market and we create what we refer to as a value based email. Now, I'll give you an example of this, Lee, because we put a tremendous amount of work into this. We'll use Perplexity, analyze what's happening across North America, both in the Canadian markets as well as the US markets. Let me actually back up for 1 second here, Lee.
Yes. Good call.
I'm in the US version. We have a Canadian version as well. So if you click on Canada and apply that, you'll see the Canadian version. So every week, we're not just writing a US email, we're writing a Canadian version as well. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to the US example. The reason we do a value-based email, and we have it on Tuesday, you may push that to Wednesday, you may push that to Thursday. That's totally fine with us. But the reason we do a value-based email is that we all know fortune is in the blank. What's the blank, right?
Person
Fortune is
F.
in the fill in the blank for us in the chat. And so we don't want to be sending emails, like we don't want to be subscribing to this like 10 days of pain, like beat them into submission, get them to basically, convert or die.
Trick
I
them into talking. Yeah, buy or die. That's not a good saying.
the thing is, the reality is that and everyone's dropping it. Fortune is in the follow-up. So the reason we create these value-based emails is like we know that repetition is persuasive. We know this as professional marketers. We know that if you go to a store to buy something, Lee, and there's 10 different brands of toothpaste, and there's a brand that you recognize, like my two little girls, they use something called Hello. It's like a kid's toothpaste. There are 1,000 different toothpastes. When my wife sends me to the store to buy toothpaste, I don't even look at any of the toothpaste. I just look at the one that I already recognize. And that's how they call it in marketing. They use an SAT word called heuristics. It's these little cheat codes that our brains use so we don't have to think about making every single decision. And so brand acts as a heuristic. By the ability for us to be well known, it actually helps consumers make better decisions. So we write these emails and they're always designed. You can see here, they're always designed to be something of value. We want someone to say the words we want people to say, Lee, is thank you.
Right.
And so we try to provide an expert educate. Well, we're not going to spin it. We're not going to be negative. We're not going to be positive. We're going to be more, I would call us, we have actually a persona, Lee. People don't know this. So me and Bethany and the team write these emails. Like we call it a realistic optimist. And we're like, hey, we want to be realistic. We want to look at the world in a brighter light, but we're very pragmatic. So we remove phrases like you'll never see us put an exclamation point in an email. And so my advice for this one, you can see here, this is an example of what's happening right now. And I'll give a couple quick pro tips here. So notice how in the subject line, we're saying buying before 2026. These are 3 things to pay attention to. And what we're doing here is that by sending this email, we have the schedule for Tuesday. By sending this email, we now are building a list of engaged people who are actually interested in potentially buying before 2026. And that's important because when it comes to our sales scripts, we need to make sure that we're following up with an engaged audience. So the technique that we use, my friend Sharon would call this the dog whistle. We would always call it qualifying through copy. But it's basically saying send an email that only people who are interested in your thing would actually open. And so in this particular email, we talked about, hey, what's happening with interest rates, how much a drop will impact your monthly payment, and then we talk about what's happening with the Fed meeting on September 17th. Now, let me stop here for a hot second. We have, I'm going to get, because you guys are part of today's campaign kickoff call, I'm going to give you a quick pro tip. We're going to be dropping a bonus. We will be dropping a bonus script, text script today, which is about interest rates dropping to their lowest level since October of 2024. We also saw a 30-year interest rate dropped, I think it was 6.29 on Friday. Mortgage News Daily typically updates around 4 p.m., might be a little bit earlier today. But interest rates have literally dropped since their lowest in basically a year. And so we have this killer script that we use. It's a text script. We'll be sharing. What's so important is you can send this email and then use the bonus script that I'm going to give you here today to actually get people to raise their hand. So
Yeah,
let me
Jimmy,
just stop there,
let me,
Lee.
yeah, I was gonna say, let me hop in and actually add three things real quick to
Yep.
that. I think, number one, and I'm doing my best to get your guys' questions answered and whatnot. We'll make sure we get everything tackled for you guys. Um, a couple of pieces. Yes, you're 100% right. This going out consistently, I've said this before, but I've been out of production for 13 years. I still have people responding to old emails saying, "Hey, I know you don't do this anymore, but can you get us somebody that helps?"
Hmm.
So just getting something into them. But I want to lean hard into what you said about following up with clicks and opens. This is a little more advanced use case. However, what you've built here is a beautiful sales funnel to get people who are interested in a deal of the week or an overall market update or certain things to engage with certain pieces of content to help you have more intel on how to better follow up with them.
Yeah.
So following
Yeah.
up with the clicks and opens, and I want to say two quick things that have been in the chat or in the questions, going back a little bit here, but somebody asked, is this too much email? Like if you're sending all this email, is this too much email? And Jimmy, I'd love your take on that. And then I got one more quick thing to add.
Uh, there's a great line from an executive, might be with Sequoia Capital. He said, startups do not die of starvation, they die of indigestion. And it's, oftentimes businesses have too many ideas, too many things are working at one time. The exact opposite is true of marketing, which is brands never die from sending by doing too much marketing. They only die from doing too little marketing. And so much of the stats around unsubscribes and bounces and email performance is all tied to the fact that if you go from not sending a lot of emails to sending 2 or 3 emails per week, you will have an initial spike in unsubscribes. And then what happens next is super counterintuitive, but that number will just plummet. And the people who are starting to get your emails are now going to be conditioned to hear from you 2 or 3 times a week. My friend Dean Linnell, shout out to Dean Linnell. He sent me a text message a couple weeks ago. He goes, Jimmy, I've generated over $13 million in commission in my career. 75% of my business comes from, you guessed it, email marketing. He sends
Weekly email.
consistently, 1 to 2 emails every single week. He's been doing that forever. And so I totally understand the sentiment. I hear it all the time when I'm on the road talking to agents or I'm doing webinars like this and training agents on it. I hear it all the time. The reality is that you are so much more likely to struggle from not doing enough marketing than doing too much marketing. I have yet to run to someone who does too much marketing. As an example, when you find that person, please let me know. So on that note, Lee,
Hey, Jimmy, I'm sorry.
yeah.
Let me drop in one more thing. I'm super sorry. But I put it in the chat to myself so I remember to say it. We recently had a meeting with some of our most power users.
Hmm.
Every single one of them said, I just open it and it's sent. Nobody's
Yep.
modifying, nobody's adding their logo,
Yep.
nobody's wordsmithing on top of the wordsmithing that's been done. just absolutely executing on what's in there. And again, this is our goal, right? This is easy. This is not for you to take our copywriting and become a copywriter.
Exactly.
It's to paste it in or integrate it in and hit go.
That's exactly right. We never create these campaigns so you have to do anything. I mean, that's that we spend 40 plus hours a week developing the strategy, writing the copy, designing the material so that you don't have to. And that is really the goal. We just want you to get in that execution mode. And on that note, we had a great question. And I'm sorry because we had a ton of questions flowing in here, but it was around using this on Instagram. Uh, what I would do if I was you, we have obviously, I'll come back here for a hot second. We have in our Instagram library, we have our best Instagram reels. If you haven't checked this out, it's amazing. I mean, like we literally track thousands and thousands of posts. We find the best ones, and then we have obviously them in the leaderboard. If I was really like trying to grow my audience on social media, specifically Instagram Reels, I would probably repurpose this email as a video script, which is I would open up with every 0.25% change in rates equals $17 per month in savings for every $100,000 saved. And scale up, scale down, it's going to work at any price point. Like these emails actually generally work as a video script as well. So great call out when we write these, probably some modification, but when we write these, we're writing them to be designed as like a value based campaign. So that can be delivered via email, which is just copy, paste, send, or of course it can be delivered via a video script. So great call out there. Your heads are in the right place. All right, so let me back up for a second. We're now into Tuesday. We've created our Instagram story for Monday. We post it on social media. We send out our deal of the week to our prospects. We post that on Monday. Now we're Tuesday. Now we send out the email of the week, which again is a value-based email. We send that out on Tuesday. Now we did all of this. We front loaded this. We front loaded this on purpose because on Wednesday we have our prospecting sales script. Now, for those of you who don't know, I co-wrote a book called "Exactly What to Say for Real Estate Agents." And now, with my friend Phil Jones and Chris Smith, that book now has sold over 250,000 copies. After I wrote that book, I built an 11-person ISA team, and we set thousands of appointments. I think we ended up with 5,000 appointments in our first 12 months. And so I have an extensive experience not only writing and talking about sales, but actually being a practitioner in the space. And the one thing that we learned doing all of this is that calling cold leads takes a lot of effort to convert. And the best and simplest way for us, having done this across every market across North America, the best way for us to increase our conversion ratio was to send emails first. So we would send an email and then we would just follow up with the people who are engaging with the emails. So if you look at the email of the week, this email was designed to be sent to your entire database. We're like, hey, send us the entire database. Now, as we move on to Wednesday, I have a killer script that I can use for people who have opened up any email in the last 2 days. And so, what I would generally do here is I would generally send an email I'd follow up with people. I would filter my CRM lead. I'd say my kind of two lists. Again, we keep things really simple on purpose because the simpler the structure, the better the execution. I have my engaged prospects and then I have my clients. And so what I would do is I would build a smart list within my CRM. So whether I'm using Lofty or KV Core or Bold Trail or Brivity or Course Follow Up Boss or I don't care if you're using a damn spreadsheet, right? I'm going to say anybody who has opened up an email in the last 7 days who I have not talked to in the last 7 days is going to get the script of the week. And so this is an example, and I'll break this down for you. This is an example which is something called the endowment effect. So again, we use heuristics, we use psychology in all the things we do, not because they work every time, but they increase your likelihood of success. That's all marketing is. Shots on goal equals more goals. And so this is an example called the endowment effect, which you say, hey Lee, I just did a deep analysis of the last 12 months of sales in Atlanta. Now, I just did all this work. Now you feel like there's something of value that you potentially could get access to that's available to you. Not, hey, I'm about to do this, or I'm thinking about doing this, or I'm planning on doing this. No, I just did all this. The results were not what I was expecting. Now, this is called a pattern interrupt. This is designed to basically kind of do a little bit. We use the expression internally of the handbrake turn. So you're going like this direction and you pull the handbrake to take it in a totally different direction. You'll never see us use phrases like, I'm just checking in or I'm just following up. These trigger parts of your brain that act as a defense mechanism. They cause the consumer to immediately get into defense mode. Okay, no, I don't want to respond, or no, I'm actually good. Thanks so much. The results were not what we're expecting. I'm spending some time this afternoon, adding some time and some urgency, updating a few clients on the impact it had on their home's value. Do you want an update on yours? Now, if you follow us at Listing Leads, we have come up with 1,000 different ways to say, do you want to know what your home is worth? And the reason why we've done this is because we know that people who raise their hand for a CMA, we know 25% of those folks are going to transact within 12 months. Our friends over at Fellow gave us this data. We instinctively knew it forever, but Fellow reconfirmed our beliefs, which is 25% of people who raise their hand for a CMA transact within 12 months. So if you get 10 responses, you know you got four potential listings, or 2.5% potential listings just from those responses. So my advice here, Lee, before we get into questions on this, is my advice is really simple. Is I want you sending the email on Monday. I want you sending the email on Tuesday. This has really warmed up your database. Now we want to start texting people to get them to raise their hand and then turn that into a conversation. So you warm them up first and then you convert them second. Let me stop there, Lee.
Yeah. And you're top of mind because you're sending consistent content through multiple formats. They see it on Instagram, they get an email, you text them. This is
Mm-hmm.
all the magic of this. And I just want to add super quick. I love the emails that say, hey, I was doing this for somebody else and I want to share it with you. That really creates there's FOMO. Somebody
Mm-hmm.
else got this and I didn't get it. You're hard at work doing real estate things. There's a lot of implications in those emails.
Yep.
It's funny, we had a great question. Somebody's like, should I put this into ChatGPT? And I was like, no, because we have deeply thought through all the steps in the consumer's mind and hundreds of years, honestly, of deep research around consumer behavior and how people
Mm-hmm.
respond to messaging that's
Yeah.
going into this. So, want to be
Yeah.
clear, this is not just content that we stuck on a website, it's very intentional.
Yeah, I think, and what we have experience using, listen, we use AI constantly behind the scenes to make sure that we are coming up with variations or alternatives or different approaches to way we create content. But the problem with ChatGPT in terms of creating content is it almost always defaults to sort of what I call like the AI voice, which is like, and we all see it, we all recognize it. It's the type of marketing that you see like, oh, this is like we call it like corporate marketing as an example. It kind of has that default. And so of course, listen, you can take what we do and throw it in ChatGPT and spend, hours modifying it and playing with it. That's your decision, but we don't want you to have to do that. Like our job is to save you time developing a marketing strategy so you can have more conversations. And we want you spending 99% of your time on execution, not ideation or analysis or modifying is the point. Our belief is you already have a lot to do. That's our position. You already have a lot to do. How can we make it easier for you to kind of get things moving?
It's a
All right.
little
So
more than a
now,
hypothesis as well. We're pretty confident you guys got better things to do than rewrite content.
yeah, if you love writing copy, like just let me know in the chat. Like how many of you just like would rather say, Jimmy, just do it for me?
We should take a poll and then
We'll
share
do a
that
poll
for
for
our
that. Like
next marketing thing.
I know the amount of time that we spend sweating over should we say it this way or that way is you guys would be embarrassed. I'd be embarrassed to let you know, right? Like just do it for me. So let's end on this, Lee. We have two more campaigns for the week, which is, and by the way, let us know. I know this call is going to go the full hour today. I know we're getting into the details. I know we're getting into the weeds. That's the point of the call. This is the campaign kickoff call. We're doing these every single Monday. These calls are designed to say, let's get you in the right mindset. Let's make sure we're answering your questions. Like make sure we're mapping out the week and explaining what we're doing. But the goal here is to make sure that we're actually preparing you to be successful. So like let us know in the comments if you love this direction because this is the first time we've done it. We definitely want to make sure that we're getting feedback to make these better and better every single week. So Lee, let me come back to the CMA prospecting script. I would want you sending this to, we have it right now. We recommend this for your prospects. I would recommend sending at least 100 to 200 of these messages. Okay. Like that's my goal. If I can just get you sending 2 emails per week and then 100 to 200 text messages, I'm going to fill your pipeline. Okay. I'm going to fill your pipeline. If I can just get you doing those 2 things, I'm going to fill your pipeline. And so this is going to be 100 to 200 people. And my advice again is send the emails first so your conversion ratio will be that much higher. That is the goal here. And then lastly, we're going to end the week with 2 more things, which is we have another Instagram story. This is again is like this is analyzing. We know right now, Lee, across most of North America, the market is beginning to soften, meaning that we're starting to see homes not only sit in the market longer, we're also seeing a significant increase in the number of price reductions. In the mind of the consumer, a price reduction is potentially a deal. And so you can analyze your MLS. You can identify how many price reductions there are in the last X days in your area. And then you could use a question like this. Yeah, Robert, you're exactly right. Robert, this has been going on for a while. Certain markets, Robert, like in the north, like I'm in the Northeast. I'm broadcasting this live from Boston today. There's certain parts of the Northeast that have been kind of immune to the correction we've seen in Austin and Phoenix and Miami and some of the other kind of pandemic cities like Boise. However, it now is kind of permeating through most major markets. I think my friend Lance Lambert put out some data on this, where around 40% I'm sorry, around 80% of all of the top 100 cities are now back to pre-pandemic inventory levels, and that's rising very quickly. So we're starting to see some significant softening of the market, which again, the market is the market. We always have to just realize that what's the right strategy, and the strategy is always have more conversations. So this is a price reduction poll. Same exact best practice. Go to your MLS, identify how many price reductions, put in your area, and then just use an Instagram poll, which is, hey, what's holding you back from buying? And the reason we have some buy side stuff, even though we are technically listing leads, is we know that around 40 to 50% of people who want to buy also have a home to sell. So one of the cheapest and fastest and easiest ways to get seller leads is by actually doing some buyer marketing is the point. And then Lee, I'm going to share my screen one last time here. The very last thing I wanted to cover today, and we'll dive into some Q&A as well, is that we always will include either a direct mail campaign for that week, which we don't have this week, or we'll include like a long form video. How many of you, let me know in the chat, how many of you right now uh, are trying to get bigger and are trying to use YouTube more? Let me know in the chat. Like how many of you are trying to use YouTube more? So, I mean, a lot of people, some saying no, not yet, not yet. But a lot, like some people are saying eek, which tells me not yet,
The
but
answer
a
is
lot
no.
of yeses. So if I come back here for 1 second, we have in listing leads, we have the best YouTube videos. So you see here, best YouTube videos. If I click on that, we've actually organized, I mean, again, like listing leads is a cheat code. You'll never have to go and try to like figure out what to do. We have it in listing leads. I mean, we analyze all the best creators. Have you guys actually in the chat? Let me know. Have you used this tool before in listing leads? A lot of people haven't used this tool, Lee. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
this is gold. You can either follow all of these people and try to watch every single thing they post ever, or you can just find the best of what they have right here.
Yeah, I'll just drop the link in there. I just dropped the copy from the deal of the week, but let me go ahead and drop the link in there. I mean, this is like we folks, we're updating this. We're updating this every week. I mean, this is not a stale library. We update this every single week with what we think are the best videos, and we use something called see this score right here, Lee, 28x. Let me actually give a little bit of context here on this. So you see the 28x right here. This is called the virality score. And so what we do is we look at the homes, we look at the average views. We built software for this internally. We look at the average views of the video of that channel. So in this case here, this video about Denver buy versus avoid, great headline, Landon Smith. This video here, if I click on this video, I'll play it real quick. This video has, I'll stop it, 3,000 views. Okay. That would normally not be like this, like, oh my God, that's 3,000 views. But what's interesting is that has 20x, 28x the views on his average video, which tells me this is an outlier. And so this outlier score we have, this viral outlier score we have, helps us understand this is actually really good content. And so when I come back to the listing attraction plan, we will actually showcase, I'll move over here for a second so you can see this. We will actually showcase, what video, like we'll use that viral leaderboard to recommend a piece of content. Now, my advice would be this. If you're not into YouTube, you can sort of repurpose that for an Instagram reel or like a TikTok or a YouTube short. So you don't have to necessarily use it for the long form, but you can use it for the other short forms as well. And we include, if I click on this, we'll actually include the video script. So you can actually we'll actually create the full video script for you. So you can download the full video script. You have it, you can use that. And then we break down, here's the title, here's how you should title, here's the description, here's the hashtags you should use. And then we'll give you also a Canva template. So you can go ahead and take this and just update it for your area. So I mean, like this is like Lee, for investing in YouTube takes a lot of time, no question about it, pays a massive return. We're saving you hours of time if you want to get serious about YouTube.
Yeah, I'm big, and I think long form is going to stand out again. We went short. Everybody's like now TikTok, now Reels, now Stories. I think long form is still where it's at, but I wouldn't skip through the emails and texts and the polls
Mhm.
to get to that. So we'll call it a slightly advanced use.
Yeah, and what's great too, and you can see here, someone said, "Well, should we change the video up because we don't reckon if everyone's using the same script?" Well, the script that we use is actually location specific, so you're going to fill in some of the details about your market. But what's actually super interesting, let me go back and share my screen because I think it was let me just see who asked that question because it's a great question. Marinetta, this is we find this all the time when we go into YouTube videos. We see so many agents in so many different markets kind of doing the same thing because it works. So all these YouTubers spend all their time looking at what other people are doing and they spend hours analyzing it. We just did that for you. Here you go. And so we'll see like themes like don't buy this house or buy or versus avoid or this is the next area moving into or keep out of this area. We just see like you see how the format kind of these patterns start to emerge.
You
So
feel the trends. We just had a great question. Somebody asked about using a green screen, and
mhm,
I would lean to the same answer. See what these people are doing. What are these
yep.
guys? Are they walking around? Are they in a house? Are they sitting in their office? Do they have a contract pulled up behind them? Like
Hmm.
rip off and duplicate, as they say. That's where it's at, and this what this is designed for.
That's exactly right. And so yeah, this is part of this as part of our creator plan. So, our listing leads, our listing attraction plan is our entry level tier. It's kind of just getting you started, getting using it. If you want to get really into social media, the creator plan is a must have, in my opinion. We got Instagram, we have the best ads, we have the viral leaderboard. It's all there for you. I mean, it acts as like, imagine having a professional marketing manager who tells you what videos to create every week to help you grow your social media following. That's what the creator plan really does. So, on that note, Lee, this is our very first campaign kickoff call. We covered a lot of material, sending emails out on Monday, on Tuesday, following up with sales scripts, leveraging Instagram Reels. We covered obviously talking about YouTube as well. Every week, the plan changes. Every week, we update it with something that's new and timely and relevant. We are doing these calls every single Monday. So, my ask and Lee's ask is very simple. We want you to take everything you've learned today and get out there and execute. Don't overthink it. Just get out there and execute it. The agent who has the most conversations wins. The way to have more conversations is through better marketing. And the way to get better at marketing is through repetition. And so getting you in motion is the goal here. We will stick around. We will stick around for questions here, Lee, but I want to make sure that we left today's call making sure everyone felt empowered. So please let us know in the chat right now again. Was this call helpful? Will you A, execute the plan this week, and B, will we see you again next week? Let us know in the chat right now. Awesome. Thank you,
I'm gonna set
Carrie.
up polls for our future Mondays.
Yes,
Love it.
exactly. I love it. And by the way, quick tip, please, everyone, jump to the Facebook mastermind group. Lee, maybe you can pull it up and drop a link.
Yeah, I'll drop
We
the link
want to
again.
hear about your wins, please. So in the chat, let us know. In the mastermind group, share your wins, share what's working for you. We obviously have an amazing support team and staff here. So if you have questions, feel free to reach out to us afterwards. But let's make sure that we're sharing those wins because like winning is contagious. And I'll tell you right now, Lee, just a quick story. Um, we had a question from Don. Is the content next week the same or different topic? So Don, this is going to be, we're going to be covering the plan for next week. So it will be the same format, but it will be different content. And like this call, we're going to definitely be giving you sort of pro tips and advice along the way as well. So we'll likely have a direct mail campaign next week. We'll likely have some accelerators next week. So it's always going to be the same format, but we will be covering different marketing material. Our goal is, to be clear, our goal is we want you to execute with us on these calls. At least get it to like the 90% roll. That way when you end them, you have very little work to do afterwards. This is like when Lee, when kids go to school and you do your homework in the last hour of the school day. So you go home and you have no homework. That's what we're
Right.
trying to do with these calls.
Yeah, that we got to come up with a term for that. We're gonna be the nerdy kids that do their homework at school.
Yeah. So we had a question, Jimmy. What's my video set up? I actually have a teleprompter in front of me right now, which allows me to look directly at Lee, even though my computer is down right here, and we have a fancy Canon camera and a good mic on this. We'll publish that as well. I'm glad.
That said, Jimmy and I talked a little bit about logistics for video. This thing is an amazing device if you're just trying to launch a video and get it going. I do have a fancy mirrorless DSLR and all that good stuff, but
Oh
you know what?
yeah. Lee,
This is
you
the
know
way
what's
to do it.
crazy? It's funny. If I go to my Instagram profile, I have some of my best videos. It's really depressing. I've invested thousands of dollars in doing like editing and having a videographer, and some of my videographer is sitting Eric right now with me. Is going to be really upset when I say this, but like Eric, cover your ears. Like some of my best performing videos are shot with my iPhone and with my AirPods, and they do like much better. So, but for setups like this, if you're doing like a long form training, yeah, Eric now has left the room. If
Yes,
you
he's gone. He's
if,
out.
if you do long form training, I mean, like you should have more. Like if you're gonna do YouTube, you should not do it on your iPhone. If you're doing a 40-minute video, because people are gonna be like, "That's terrible." Um, so questions. When will Beacon be available? Okay, we'll get into that one at the end here, Don. Um, Trish was saying, Trish, if you join today's call and you're not a member of Listing Leads, you can just sign up on the website, listingleads.com. You can sign up for a free trial. That's available. We'll drop a link for you there as well. If
I
you
can
if
literally no longer chat for some reason. I guess I have chatted out. I'm literally trying to answer questions and it will not let me paste
Okay,
it.
I'm going to answer them for you here. Give me 1 second here.
That's silly.
So yeah, if you're not a member of Listing Leads, you can sign up through listingleads.com/free trial, and I'll copy that link for you. I'll drop it into the chat for you. Also, when you sign up for Listing Leads, make sure you join the Facebook group and make sure that you register for the campaign kickoff call, which is today. And if you're just getting started, Lee and Hannah host this amazing call on Tuesday called Listing Leads Basics, which is available as well. If you just need a refresher on getting your account set up and just want to get make sure you're dialed in for success. Nicole, the bonus text, Nicole, we're dropping that in the mastermind group after 4 p.m. today. I want to see what happens with interest rates on Mortgage News Daily, but we have it all. We have it all dialed in. After 4 p.m., we will drop that in the mastermind group. Listing Lead members, do they get access to deal of the week? Yes, they do. Thank you, Lee. Looks like your text is working now.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. And Trish, we'll make sure you got the link. Trish, you got the trial link that Jimmy just dropped in as well. I
Yep.
just dropped in the Facebook group, and please make sure you're in there. We are going to be dropping recordings, including this recording in there. And
Yep.
we will also drop until we change our minds, Jimmy, or you guys kick me out. We're going to generally post the recording in the Facebook group. It's easier to distribute it that way. And you guys
Yep.
are paying for this content. So we don't want other people to get access to this. We want you to get access to it because you're a paying member.
That's exactly right. So last thing for you before we wrap here, because my is this is when you use a fancy setup. We don't actually have the computer charged. I have 7% battery left, so I want to make sure I make this last point before we wrap today. which is we are rolling on a new product called Beacon, which is if you're not familiar with the seller report, it's a tool that you or it's a service you offer your sellers where every week you give them updates on what's happening with their listing. You organize all the marketing, all the showing feedback, all the comps, just to make sure that you're communicating effectively with the seller. Right now, we found that people have really like struggle with this. It takes an hours per week. It's usually very difficult. Usually takes way too much time. Usually doesn't even look that good. And then the worst part is when you've done all the work and you sell the house, all that data disappears. So with Beacon, what we're doing is actually we create an AI tool that helps take that 90-minute process and turn it down to like less than five, basically. We are releasing that product. That's part of another company that I'm releasing right now. All listing lead members will get early access and will get an extended free trial and will get a lifetime discount. So as part of the listing leads community, we are going to hook you up. You're going to get an extended free trial to be able to use the product. You're going to get early access, and you will get a lifetime discount so long as you're part of the listing leads community. Last thing for you before we wrap here, which is the deal of the week is part of a new product that we are releasing at Listing Leads, which every Listing Leads member is going to get a 30 days completely free to try this out. So if you want to automate the deal of the week workflow in terms of sending the emails out, all of that, we'll be able to work with any CRM, not just Follow Up Boss. That tool is going to become available next week. We are going to hook you up with a 30-day free trial to give you some time to decide if you want us to do it for you or if you want to continue to do it yourself manually. So that tool will be available and ready. We've been in beta for a while now. That tool will be available and ready next week for you to sign up and start using. And we are going to give you 30 days completely free to fall in love with the tool. Or if you want to keep doing it yourself, also totally an option. Lee, this has been great. First off, I mean, I'm so proud and happy to have you as part of the Listing Leads team, making things like this possible. I know everyone who's part of the community is valuing all the work that you're doing here, Lee. So thank you for doing this. And Lee will be online tomorrow for the Listing Leads Basics call, and we will be back together next Monday for our second campaign kickoff call. Thank you guys so much for being a part of today's session.
See you then. Thank you.